Hello, and welcome to the return of the Movie Classroom series from EveryMovieHasALesson.com. I'm Don Shanahan, and I will be your critic. This first review today, and the first one in a few years, is for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Here we go. 4 years ago, while reviewing Star Trek Into Darkness, this website and this writer affirmed and extolled the unwritten rules of a good sequel. Proper second film should improve upon the original's impact without carbon copy retread, raise the technical and creative bars, and most importantly, extend the story and bolster its core. Quite simply, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 checks all of those boxes. All of the traits that you love from the first film have been amplified and polished to an even higher shine. Where most good sequels raise the stakes with peril, this one does it with a bonding sense of heart. Peter Star-Lord Quill, played by Chris Pratt, and his merry band of anti-heroes for hire are split up across worlds for the majority of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Greedily, Rocket Raccoon, voiced by Bradley Cooper, stole the invaluable battery power sources he and the group were supposed to defend for the Sovereign, a royal race of humanoids gilded in golden perfection and ruled by their high priestess Ayesha, played by Elizabeth Debicki from The Man from U.N.C.L.E. The theft puts a bullseye on all their backs from the Sovereign as well as the entire Ravager Syndicate, led from the top by Stakar Starhawk Ogard, which was a nice casting gift for Sylvester Stallone, and the mutinous Taserface, played by Chris Sullivan of TV's This Is Us. Lusting revenge even greater than those two factions is Nebula, played by Karen Gillan, looking to put an end first to her superior sister Gamora, Zoe Saldana, and eventually her lilac-hued tyrannical and off-screen for this film father, Thanos. The film evolves to address the largest lingering mystery planted by the 2014 franchise starter. Since being abducted by aliens and raised into the hard life of Yondu, played by the scene-stealing Michael Rooker and his gang of intergalactic thieving Ravagers, Peter has longed to learn the identity of his alien father while clinging to the memory of his late mother. The transcendental and immortal being Ego, embodied by the finely aged gravitas of Kurt Russell, steps forward as that man. Who and what he represents and portends is the real enigma that drives this film. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is a brazen explosion of Crayola sheen special effects, wonder mixed with invisible grays of magnetic character growth and depth. Just as with the first film, Marvel and company have taken a D-list roster of obscure also-rans and created new superstars and household names that you can actually care about. Uninformed viewers may still need an old-school MTV pop-up video version of this film to keep the peripheral characters and the Easter eggs straight, but true to the unwritten rules, the core is bolstered. On that note, let's dip in early to one of my life lessons. Lesson number 1, the deepening connection between allies. In the first film, we witness the honorless find honor and the friendless acquire true colleagues. Each of the central characters takes a step forward in this sequel, further coalescing this progressively heroic team, and they do so with unexpected punches of zest and moxie. I don't know about you, but I can watch and listen to Dave Bautista's Drax full belly and body laugh all day. The man almost steals the show. The first film graciously and successfully banked an enormous cachet of financial and creative credibility that allows this sequel to really strive for sweetening every indulgence. The clever, stylish, and invested choices of writer-director James Gunn win almost every battle in the name of irreverent silliness. He remains the right man for this wacky job, and it is good to see his increased involvement in developing the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. Weta Digital's work throughout Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and its special effects pops off the screen to a level worthy of the 3D upcharge. It's not often that these kind of films are really worth it, but this one is. I didn't think it was possible, but the quippy comedy and pitch-perfect musical quotients were raised even higher as well. Any film that finds a cool place for Silver's wham bam gets a hearty cheers from me, especially when it goes on to squeeze your moral fiber later with Father and Son from Cat Stevens. The eclectic, fun throwback soundtrack is just extraordinary. Diving way under the top line of the credits, kudos go out to Marvel's go-to music supervisor, Dave Jordan, a guy who's done the soundtracks of just about all their films. Meet your inescapable throwback soundtrack of the summer. You'll be playing this on your iPod all day. Lesser sequels have overinflated similar latitude, and not every flourish of the summer blockbuster works. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 still barrels us over with the manic and busybody fever of its predecessor. A few action sequences and long-form gags and jokes overplay their hand and sail over their intended landing zones here and there. But the final climactic barrage is more than a little zany, but unlike the first film, we are not saddled with Marvel's usual flaw of a corny and one-dimensional antagonist just yelling and screaming for the end of the world. Nevertheless, in a hackneyed fashion, somberish expositional speeches are given out to characters like prizes on a special episode of Oprah. It's a little much when everyone just has to pause and wax poetically and just kind of go on and on. Seemingly every character is allowed to kind of, drivel and go about their background, and it gets a little exhausting, even if it counts as character development. Luckily, no matter the flaws, the film never entirely becomes a parody of its own spectacle. To get back to the lessons, here's lesson 2. Lesson number 2, Earthlings have exasperating hang-ups. It's kind of a fun line in the film when they label us humans as having a lot of hang-ups, but face it, humans are emotional and intellectual messes. Even fictional aliens can see it, but we're beautiful for it. We will let small things destroy us at the same time as we ignore large issues that need attention. Every one of the 7.5 billion of us has a comfort zone of perfection and a matching package of weakness that doesn't match any other soul on the planet. That's what makes us special, and I think Fred Rogers would be proud. Lesson number 3, to close this up, the quandary of unspoken loves. A lot of times, kind of a running thing in the film between Chris Pratt's Star-Lord character and his love interest that he still pines for with Gamora is this idea of unspoken love, where they both know it but they won't say anything, probably because they're a little bit of kind of tough guys. Well, spinning out of lesson 2, the whole idea of hang-ups, let's talk about one of those messes a little more specifically with this quandary. While the Guardians of the Galaxy, pretty much save for Baby Groot, when we look at them, we're dealing with a whole collection of hard asses and tough guys. They're not the best at voicing their feelings to, siblings, parents, mentors, teammates, and right back to romantic interest. If you can muster up the courage to face down celestial dangers and intergalactic villains and supervillains and infinity stones and at some point Thanos, you probably can rise up to have a hard conversation or two. That's my review, and those are the lessons that you can get out of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Feel free to go to my website, everymoviehasalesson.com, to see this review in print, to carry on the discussion, and as always, like I say on the website, every movie can teach a lesson. Thank you very much.